The question says find the compound interest on 8,000 naira for 3 years at 5% per annum. So let me attempt to answer that question. Solution to this amount is invested for 3 years at 5% compound interest per annum. So the question is interested in finding the amount of interest. So let me do that. So starting with the first year, the formula for interest is I equals to PRT all over 100. So I want to get the interest the first year if this amount is invested. So P will now be 8,000, R is 5%, and the time is now just 1 because I'm taking it year by year. So I'm going to have 8,000 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 1 all over 100. This multiplication and division correctly give answer 400. So the interest the first year is now equals to 400 naira. So I'll move to the next year, meaning the second year, that is after second year. So the principal, that is the P, will now be equals to the original money, which is 8,000 naira, plus the interest earned at the end of first year. So that P will now be 8,000 plus 400. 8,000 is the original money plus the interest earned that very first year. So this gives 8,400. So I'm going to substitute in the formula to find interest also. So interest will now be 8,400 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 1 all over 100. So this one is the time. I told you that it is year by year. So each time I come, I will say time is 1. The rate is the same 5, but the P, that is the amount invested, will now be 8,400. So this multiplication gives answer 420 naira. So interest earned at the end of second year will now be 420 naira. I will move to the third year. So third year ending, and the principal will now also change, will now be equals to amount beginning of second year plus the interest earned at the end of that second year. So that is going to be 8,400 plus 420, and this is going to be 8,820 naira. So I'm going to calculate the interest. That third year is going to be P times R times T. So 8,820 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 1 all over 100. This correctly give result 441 naira. So this is the interest earned after 3 years, or after at the end of third year. So I will now find the total interest because the question says find the compound interest on this for 3 years. So this is the interest earned first year, interest earned second year, interest earned third year. So I'm going to total these 3 different interests. So interest in 3 years will now be equals to 400 plus 420 plus 441. Addition of this correctly give answer 1,261 naira. This is the interest earned after 3 years if 8,000 naira is invested. This work you can equally use a formula that gives you the final amount for interest, then later you subtract the initial amount invested, it will give you the interest earned after those 3 years. The answer will not be different and you have the same mark. So next is to just give you the mark distribution for this according to the Neco official marking scheme. And the very first mark is for finding the interest in the first year. The next mark is method mark, also finding the interest in the second year. And the next mark is another method mark, is finding the interest in the third year. So next mark is those interests and first, second and third year, adding them You have another method 1 mark, and the final mark is the accuracy 1 mark. After you add, you get 1261 naira exactly. That earns you another accuracy 1 mark. So in total this question has 5 good marks.